Hello, I'm Clarke Crawford, and welcome back to the latest edition of Clarke Crawford Sports. We're talking more Astros baseball, of course, today, and along, and we'll also be recapping the Astros versus A's series. We'll have an update on Chas McCormick potentially rejoining the club here soon, and then, of course, Astros versus Brewers series preview. A lot of things to get into, so let's get started with the Astros versus A's series recap. Astros swept the A's. As we all know, they swept them 4-0 in the 4-game series. And, well, they, for the most part, I wouldn't say dominated series, but they handled their business as they've now won 5 straight. Hats off to the Astros. They're on a roll. They've won 6 out of their last 7 overall. And things are clicking so far. And things are clicking on all cylinders right now. Most of the guys have gotten into a pretty good groove, and they're starting to hit the ball and pitch the ball much better than they were. Get into the unfortunate news of the Astros A's series, which was on Tuesday night. Astros starting pitcher Ronel Blanco, who's been their ace so far this year, was checked. His glove was checked in the 4th inning of the game, and it was determined he had been ejected. So since they have sent his glove to the MLB offices, and what's come from it is he's been suspended for 10 games. Apparently, so if you've seen any Astros games, Ronel Blanco is one of the sweatiest pitchers I've ever seen out on the mound. And to prevent sweat from getting all up in his glove or the palm of his hands and everything, he was using rosin, the rosin bag behind the mound. Anybody who's ever pitched before has probably seen one. And unfortunately for him, it states in the MLB rules that, well, you can't use rosin on your non-throwing hand. And the fallout from that is Ronel Blanco has a 10-game suspension. There's nothing we can do about it. It's in the MLB rule book. I know I've heard some things on X or Twitter, whichever you prefer, that, well, how come the rules are different for some pitchers and others? I'm not going to get too much into that, but I kind of agree. I've seen some things, but like I said, I'm not going to get too far into that. The fact is, Ronel Blanco's suspended. He's eligible to return next Sunday, which I highly expect him to rejoin the club then. And the fallout is the Astros will play one man short, and it has to be a pitcher. So they're allowed to carry 13 position players and 12 pitchers, while Blanco is suspended for another 8 games, as after tonight's game on Friday against the Brewers, it will go down to 7 games. He cannot return till Sunday because the Astros' loan off day this month is on next Thursday. So that impacts him coming back one day sooner. But, I mean, it's an off day. You're going to welcome that off day because it's your stretch of 29 games in 30 days. I'm going to get straight into the AL West up-to-date standings. Here we are. The Astros are now 19-25 after their 4-game sweep to the A's. They've won 5 in a row, as I mentioned. And look at that in the far right, on the highlighted part of the screen, they are now 7-3 in their last 10 games, which is a division best. The Rangers are 4-6, Seattle's 5-5. What that means is with your minus 10 run differential now, which is much improved, you're only 5 games back in the division. Astros are arguably in the worst division in baseball so far because, well, 3 teams are under 500. The Rangers are only a game over, and the Mariners are only 4 games over. This division is still winnable. Now, as I've been saying in all of my videos, don't give up. I've panicked a little bit, but I've kept a cool head for the most part. Look, it's simple. The rest of the division, for the most part, is struggling as well. Even though the A's are improved, the Rangers are struggling, and so are the Mariners. Somebody could easily have taken this division over and be up by 8, 9, 10 games. But most of the teams are struggling. We knew the Angels would be bad. I mean, what did they do in the offseason? They lost Shohei Ohtani, one of the best players in baseball. And, well, they replaced him with practically nothing. That's just the Angels. I don't know what's going on over there. I'm just glad I'm not an Angels fan. So here's your AL West division update. And next, I'm getting into Astros versus Brewers. The roster move that I hinted at before tonight's series opener for the Astros, I'm going to give it to you as followed. Left-handed pitcher Parker Mushinski, who's been up and down the last few years from AAA to the major leagues. He's been recalled for some bullpen help because, as I mentioned, the Astros are going to be one pitcher short through next Saturday's game. So that's another week's worth of games. They're going to be shorthanded, 8 games to be exact. And Parker Mushinski is a fresh arm to call up. Sean Dubin, who pitched multiple innings last night, gets sent down. Dubin had been pitching okay. I like Sean Dubin, though. I expect him to be up later this year for a struggling pitcher or because he's performing well at AAA. But Sean Dubin's got a live fastball. He can pump about 98 on the radar gun. So I really like Sean Dubin. I think he's got pretty good potential as a good long reliever in the major league. So that's the Astros roster move before Friday night's game. Parker Mushinski is activated and Sean Dubin sent back to AAA. Astros versus Brewers, game 1. The Milwaukee Brewers are 26-17 in first place in the AL Central, and your Houston Astros are 19-25, third in the AL West. Friday night's matchup, Freddie Peralta, the Brewers ace, right-handed pitcher. He is 3-1 with the 3.63 ERA, 44 2/3 innings pitched, along with 58 strikeouts. He's one of the better strikeout pitchers in baseball as per starting pitching wise. He's really good. He's been an ace for the Brewers for several years now. I expect him to probably have another lights out game tonight. And the Astros are going to have to find a way to get to him early because the Brewers also have a pretty good bullpen as well. I expect this to be a lower scoring series unless the Astros just jump out and pop some home runs and whatnot tonight. But we'll see what happens. Freddie Peralta is one of the better pitchers in baseball. I expect at least game 1 to be a lower scoring game. On the Astros side of things, right-handed pitcher Hunter Brown makes another start in place of Ronel Blanco in the rotation. He jumps back in as he was expected to jump back in because they were going to go to a 6-man rotation. But at least through this turn and with the off day and everything going on, Blanco is likely only going to miss one true start because they can put him into the rotation in the back half of the next go around next weekend. So realistically, Blanco only misses one turn. You skip a couple days and then he can be reinserted. That's the best way to look at it. Hunter Brown, for his sake, he's 0-4 with a 7.79 ERA, 32 1/3 innings pitched, 36 strikeouts. Hunter Brown has not been good so far this season. He's had a couple of good performances, though, so let's not all be negative on Hunter Brown, as I know some people are ready to kick him out the door, trade him, send him back to Sugarland. Give him some time. Hunter Brown's still 25 years old, trying to figure out his way in the major leagues. Now, I'm not at all defending his performance so far this year, but Hunter Brown does need to make some improvements to stay with the big league club. Though, to his credit, Hunter Brown, after coming in for Christian Javier, who went 1-1, coming in for Christian Javier, who lasted less than 2 innings in his start over the weekend in Detroit, Hunter Brown came in the 3rd inning of that game, going 5 innings, giving up 1 solo homer and striking out 7. So we have a good taste in our mouth with Hunter Brown, and hopefully he can continue the trend he had in his last outing. Even though he came out of the bullpen, maybe he can take something hopefully he figured out from that outing and translate it to this start, because the Astros could certainly use a good start out of Hunter Brown, because if not, with Bruno Blanco coming back and potentially Jose Urquidy coming back in the next couple weeks, Hunter Brown is likely either going to find himself in the bullpen or at AAA Sugarland. 2 of the series, for the Brewers, they will be starting Breece Wilson, a right-handed pitcher. He's 2-1 with the 2.65 ERA and 34 innings pitched. Don't know too much about Breece Wilson, but he's having a nice season, and to his credit, so are the Brewers. They seem to always find some pretty good pitching, even though they don't pay many players, but they seem to find viable replacements and kind of just replenish their pitching staff every year. Even though they traded Corbin Burnes to the Baltimore Orioles, they're still in first place, and they're one of the better pitching teams in baseball. So to their credit, they know how to find talent, and they just seem to stick around most seasons, especially recently. And the Brewers are a good team. Don't take them for granted, even though most of us Astros fans don't know much or anything about Brees Wilson. For the Astros side of things, right-handed pitcher Justin Verlander takes the mound, 2-1 with the 3.38 ERA, 29 and a third innings pitched with 23 strikeouts. His strikeout numbers are down so far this year, as Verlander throughout his career has typically averaged more than a strikeout per inning. But nonetheless, Justin Verlander's been pretty good this year. He had that blow-up start in New York, but since then, he's been pretty good. And I expect another good outing out of JV, as he's still looking like an ace at the top of the Astros rotation. A heck of a performance in his last time out in Detroit. And of course, Mr. Future Hall of Famer shooting for 300 wins in his career. 3 in the series finale features a battle of right-handers. Colin Ray, 3-1 with the 3.45 ERA and 44 and a third innings pitched, against Astros rookie Spencer Arrighetti, 1-4 with the 7.52 ERA and 26 and a third innings pitched. Now for Arrighetti, he's coming off his first career major league win. So hopefully for us Astros fans, Arrighetti can take that hopeful momentum and turn it into his second career win and start building on arguably his best start of the year, where he came off winning his first career game. For the offensive leaders for both teams, the Brewers leader in home runs at 9 and a 233 average with 27 RBIs is Rhys Hoskins. The only issue for the Brewers side of things with that is Rhys Hoskins earlier this week got placed on the IL with a hamstring strain. Unfortunately for the Brewers, like I said, he's their leader in home runs. So a power bat out of the Brewers lineup. Hopefully the Astros can take advantage of a little bit of a weakened Brewers lineup this series. Their leader in batting average and RBIs is William Contreras, their catcher, who's hitting 359 with the 434 on base percentage, and they're also leader in RBIs with 34. Contreras has been excellent, and if he continues this trend, I believe he's probably going to be a likely all-star and potentially should be the National League's all-star game starting catcher. He's been excellent. Hats off to him for a heck of a season, as he's got a brother, if you don't know, Wilson Contreras, who's also a catcher, but for the St. Louis Cardinals. For the Astros, Kyle Tucker leads the team. For the Astros, Kyle Tucker continues to lead the team with 13 home runs, also with 29 RBIs. It's been a couple of games since he homered and knocked in a run, but he's hitting 280 on the year. Kyle Tucker's having a heck of a season, and unfortunately for the Astros, they haven't paid him yet because the way he's performing so far this year, his price tag is continuing to go up. Luckily for the Astros, he doesn't have to be paid until after next season. You still have time to work on that contract extension that you need to hurry up and give him, but that's another topic for another day. Jeremy Pena, still the team leader in batting average at 327, along with the 367 on base percentage. So Jeremy Pena is still getting things done. He scuffled a little bit in the A series, not too much, but his average did drop 15, 20 points. So hopefully Jeremy can get that average back up there and have a nice series against the Brewers. Astros versus Brewers this weekend. The Astros lineup is out. I don't want to talk about it too much, but the notable omission from tonight's lineup is Yordan Alvarez. The reason I want to get to that is Alvarez is having his first day off so far this season. I think that's a big deal because, well, he's been scuffling a little bit so far over the last couple of weeks, and I think it's a well-needed day off, number one. And number two, Alvarez, because of his injury concerns the last couple of years, I think once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks, I would at least get him off his feet another time or two and DH him a little bit more to make sure those knee concerns that have been a problem in the past don't come back. So I think it's a great idea to get Alvarez off of his feet for game one of the Brewers series. And moving forward, as long as there's no injury concern with Alvarez, I think he'll be good to go. But definitely a good sign that Alvarez is getting a day off. that'll leave Jeremy Pena as the only Astros everyday regular and position player who has played every day this year. I expect Jeremy Pena to have a day off coming up pretty soon, probably sometime in the Angels series, if not this Brewers series, as the Astros have an off day on Thursday. With the way they've done things in the past, I could see Jeremy Pena having Wednesday off and then also the team off day on Thursday. That way, essentially, he has 2 days in a row off, which is, like I've said, what they've done in the past. So, with all that being said, recapping the Astros A series, the Ronel Blanco, giving a quick Chas McCormick update, which he's expected back either late in the Brewers series or sometime in the Angels series. So, recapping Chas McCormick, Jose Urquidy is expected to make another rehab start sometime this weekend for the Corpus Christi Hooks. Also, Yordan Alvarez getting a day off. Recap or highlighting the Brewers series and what's to come in that series. An AL West standings review of where the Astros are current up to date and everything you need to know Astros baseball all season long here on Clarke Crawford Sports. And of course, Yordan Alvarez, the important first day off of the year, 40 plus games into the season. That's a good sign. I think it'll be good for Alvarez and maybe he can get things going after a full day off from running around, a full day off from his feet. So, recapping everything, the Astros have won 5 in a row. They're going for 6 in a row tonight. Hopefully, they get it done. And with that being said, I'll have a live stream on Sunday after the Astros versus Brewers afternoon game around 4 or 4:30, like I have the last couple Sundays. Look out for that. And with all of that, recapping everything, this is me signing off from Clarke Crawford Sports here on YouTube. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you in my next live stream in the latest edition of Clarke Crawford Sports, the live stream edition on Sunday. Thanks for watching.